New tonight on Our News, live at 7. Abaconians express frustration at a town hall meeting over irregular communities. This as the Works Minister vows swift action in 28 days. The latest on government's aggressive demolition exercise straight ahead. Also, accused killers denied bail. A judge revokes release for Donald Cox and Berkeley Fowler, citing offenses committed while on bail. Puzzled by local panic, the Foreign Affairs Minister acknowledges impact of a recent U.S. Embassy crime alert, but he's emphasizing bigger issues tonight. Then in Our News at 7:30, he wasn't the intended target. A tragic turn of events for the teen gas station attendant shot in the face, now in critical but stable condition. Our News live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to Our News live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Candino Knowles. We begin with Abaconians not holding back at a town hall meeting on Thursday night as officials announced plans to address the rapid spread of irregular communities on that island. The Ministry of Works on hand to assure residents the decades-long problem will be rectified in 28 days. All this as the Works Minister also revealing many have been trying to find ways around the demolition for their own gain. Bethany McDermott gets us started.
As government aggressively moves to eradicate unregulated communities, Works and Family Island Affairs Minister Clay Sweeting telling Abaconians he's received calls from people hoping the government would turn a blind eye to those living in shanty towns. The revelation came at a town hall meeting in Abaco Thursday evening. Sweeting anticipates getting the same response as the task force moves into Abaco.
And there will be numerous phone calls to say, you can knock down that one, but don't knock down this one, because that's they mine. Guaranteed. I know I had the phone calls in Nassau. I said we could grant a piece of land to them. I'll pay for it, or something to that effect. So if we could be serious about it, we got to be serious together.
The government moved aggressively to demolish shanty towns in New Providence, but not without pushback. An assessment has revealed 239 illegal structures were identified in the Gaza and Gully shantytowns in Abaco without approval. The plan is to demolish 10 structures, and according to Sweeting, 4 generators were confiscated due to environmental and fire concerns. Like the irregular communities in New Providence, residents were given 28 days to remove the structures and leave the premises or face eviction.
Serious. I know some people don't think that we're serious, but I'm a Sigillian, and if I tell you something, it's going to happen. So I can tell you, we ain't come to play.
It was then time to hear from Abaconians who say they've been plagued with the issue for decades.
So we need to know, where are these people going when the homes are broken down? The second thing is, what measures are going to be put in place to prevent this from happening again?
There will be regular patrols. We already do it in Nassau for the 2 communities now, by immigration and the police, and also a hotline. Okay. So they'll have a community center set up so you could call and to report.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
All right, thanks for that, Bethany. Well, 2 accused killers behind bars tonight after a judge ruled they were no longer suitable candidates for bail. Senior Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson revoked bail for Donald Cox and Berkeley Fowler. Both men committed offenses while on bail. Cox was charged with murder and attempted murder in May 2020. Since being released on $30,000 bail in 2021, Cox has been convicted twice of violating his bail conditions. He's presently facing another breach of bail charge. While on bail for the 2012 murder of his stepfather, Fowler missed his 2021 trial date. He was also convicted of possession of a firearm last month. Meanwhile, Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell weighing in on the recently issued United States Embassy security alert that warned U.S. citizens of the wave of violent crime rocking the nation. In the alert on Wednesday, the embassy blaming retaliatory gang violence as the primary motive for murders and advised U.S. citizens to exercise extreme caution, particularly in the eastern side of New Providence. Mitchell, who is Member of Parliament for Fox Hill, which is in the east, says the embassy was carrying out its responsibility.
I don't quite understand why Bahamians get sort of panicked about this situation. I've been at this in public life since 1975, and we have these spikes and downturns. So the United States government has, by law, the responsibility to advise its citizens if there are dangers that they perceive. And we have the same responsibility with regard to our own citizens. We've issued alerts about Bahamians traveling in the United States, to be careful in Miami about where you leave your passport, all of those kinds of things.
And while the alert may not be a good look for the Bahamas, Minister Mitchell, he says the Bahamas has bigger issues to address, like ensuring crime is solved.
You have to see it in its particular context. The hotels are still full, tourists are still coming, so people take it in stride, so to speak. What is more important for me is that we have to take the solution side importantly.
Free National Movement Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands says that the crime situation is so out of hand that it is critically impacting operations at the state-run hospital. And he says it's not just gunshot victims putting pressure on the healthcare system, but also other victims of violent crimes.
Every time somebody gets shot, there's a run on the blood bank. They occupy space in the ICU. They take up time in the operating room. I think people need to understand that this violent crime impacts cancer care for their Grammy, for their grandfather, for their mother, for their daddy. We are all connected here. And people want to know, why do I have to stay so long in accident emergency? Why can't I be tended to? Well, if you got gunshot wound after gunshot wound, stab wound after stab wound coming in, then mommy or daddy is going to wait.
And Dr. Sands is claiming that the numbers that police are sharing with the public are starkly different from the number of individuals actually going to the hospital on a daily.
I think that the public has a right to know the difference between what the Royal Bahamas Police Force says and what the hospitals are seeing. The numbers are staggering when you see the number of gunshot wounds, stab wounds, rapes, assault, etc. Not just this year and last year, but for the last 20, 25 years. Let's get the numbers, let's put them out there so people can know. We as Bahamians tend to want to hide our head in the sand and say, oh, it ain't really that bad. We have a crime crisis.
All right, to see that story again, be sure and head over to ournews.bs. We've got much more to get to tonight, but for now, it's time for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Ian McKenzie is in the Weather Center. Ian?
Thanks, Gindu, and good evening, Bahamas. Welcome to your TGI Friday forecast. Currently outside our studios, we're under a few clouds and breezy with a temperature of 76. Our winds are from the east at 12 miles per hour, with a comfortable feels-like temperature of 76. Current temperatures across the country at this time in our nation's second city, Freeport, we have 76. 76 also in Allenstown, Bimini, Nicholstown, the capital, and in Governor's Harbor, Eleuthera. 77 in Great Harbor Key, and 75 in Marsh Harbor, Abaco. For the central Bahamas, continuing with those 76s in Camps Bay, as well as the Edmonds Key, Long Island, and Arthurstown, Cat Island, 79 in Georgetown, and 75 in Coburn Town, San Salvador. For the southeast Bahamas, a set of 78s in Duncantown, Ragged Island, Delectable Bay, Auckland, 78 also in Colonel Hill, Crooked Island, a pair of 77s in Abrahams Bay, Maguana, and Providenciales, Turks and Caicos. Rounding up our temperature profile in the deep south, Matthewtown and Nagua, coming in at 79. First look now at our satellite and radar imagery where we have few clouds, and this is all ahead of a frontal system that's taking shape across the Gulf states. This frontal system is expected to push into the northwest Bahamas by late Sunday, early Monday. Stick around for extended forecast. We'll tell you more about this frontal system that should cool things down a bit.
Thanks, Ian. And still to come on our news, meet the women ascending the ranks. This as Constance Delancey sworn in as the newest acting Supreme Court Justice, the jurists expressing honor and readiness to serve. And meet the women rising through the ranks of the Defense Force. The Commodore highlights the remarkable progress since 1985. When our news returns.
At the gateway to the Americas, on the picturesque island of Grand Bahama, a pioneering initiative is taking shape. Lucaya Solar Power Limited presents the $15 million Lucaya Solar Power Project, the first of its kind in the Bahamas' energy landscape. The state-of-the-art solar farm on the Fairfield and Devon sites spans just over 30 acres, and once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate over 9.5 megawatts of clean, sustainable energy. The Lucaya Solar Project is a pivotal step towards diversifying the country's energy sources and significantly reducing dependency on fossil fuels. It's more than just a project, it's a commitment to a greener, more sustainable future. Lucaya Solar Power Limited, powered by Inti, powering your world, powering your future.
Doctors Hospital has reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. Your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new, modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnosis and true personalized treatment begin. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshos.com.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online.
Preschool category. All right, we've got a full report from last night's Youth Showdown coming up in just a moment. A new acting Supreme Court justice has been added to the bench. Constance Delancey, sworn in this morning in a private ceremony at the office of the Governor General, surrounded by family and loved ones. She says she's honored for the opportunity to continue her public service.
I feel very humble and grateful to be given the opportunity to continue to serve the people of the Bahamas and to do my small part to increase access to justice.
Delancey has served in multiple positions in the judiciary over the years. In 2011, she was the magistrate responsible for juvenile matters. Fast forward to 2017, she was appointed assistant registrar in the Supreme Court. She was later made deputy registrar with responsibility for court services. And in 2021, she was sworn in as registrar of the Supreme Court. We asked her about what she hopes to achieve in her new post. She also shared a bit of advice to those who may want to follow in her footsteps.
I hope to, specifically in an ordinary way I'm going to be posted, I hope to be able to tackle some of those cases that may have been lingering for a while so that people don't lose hope. When justice is not done in a timely manner, people tend to view the whole process negatively, and I hope to be a positive change. Well, I'll say this, a barefoot child from Sandy Point can be sworn in as an acting judge of the Bahamas. Anything can be done.
When you think about the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, you may conjure up images of men in fatigues or out to sea defending our country's borders. And while men have certainly played a pivotal role since the organization's inception, women are now ascending to the top ranks. Commander-in-Charge telling our Megan Shepherd about the impressive rise of women since 1985.
The Royal Bahamas Defense Force doing its part to align with the United Nations goals of gender equality and the empowerment of women. To this end, Commander of the Defense Force, Commodore Dr. Raymond King, notes that women currently on the force have risen to the highest rank achieved by women over the organization's 39-year history.
Captain Sonia Miller and Natasha Miller. Those are the two highest ranks females would have reached in the organization. The women now in the service, particularly amongst the command and executive leadership, represent some 23% of our members within that echelon.
Commodore King says women account for 18.5% of their population. In the latest promotional exercise, some 28% of those advancing to higher ranks were women. In the most recent recruitment exercise, 30% of new entries were women. Commodore King says these figures speak to the organization's commitment to having women represented at all levels on the force.
Women bring a dynamic, a qualitative perspective to every decision that is made. We've even went as far as I got the minister to agree to a policy what I term gender optimization, to insist that all decisions made, whether it's appointments, job placements, whether promotions, advancements, women, the decision, particularly with training and development, that we would consider a percentage that is representative
of the female population within the Royal Bahamas Defense Force.
From 1985 to now, King says more women are showing interest in the organization. In fact, he says there is an extensive wait list.
Women subscribe and they apply.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Megan Shepard.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as Alabama carries out the first nitrogen gas execution. And we'll tell you the Kenyan court ruling halting deployment of police forces to Haiti. The story when our news returns.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having Business in a Box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. Alabama on Thursday executed convicted murderer Kenneth Smith, who held his breath in vain as officials asphyxiated him with nitrogen gas. It's the first use of a new method of capital punishment in the United States since legal injections began 4 decades ago. Gabe Singer reports.
Alabama on Thursday executed a prisoner with nitrogen gas in what was the first use of a new controversial method of capital punishment. Human rights groups, UN torture experts, and lawyers had sought to prevent it, saying the method was risky, experimental, and could lead to an agonizing death or non-fatal injury. Kenneth Smith was convicted of the 1988 murder for hire of Elizabeth Sennett. He was one of only a few prisoners to have survived an execution attempt. In 2022, Alabama officials aborted his execution by lethal injection after struggling for hours to insert the needle in his body. In Smith's second trip to the execution chamber on Thursday, executioners restrained him in a gurney and strapped a respirator mask to his face. A canister of pure nitrogen was attached to the mask that, once flowing, deprived him of oxygen. Alabama Corrections Commissioner John Hamm told reporters the execution had gone as expected.
It appeared that Warren Smith was holding his breath as long as he could, and then there's also information out there. He struggled against his restraints a little bit, but there's some involuntary movement and some agonal breathing, so that was all expected and is in the side effects that we've seen or researched on nitrogen hypoxia. So nothing was out of the ordinary of what we were expecting.
Smith's spiritual advisor, Reverend Jeff Hood, who was at Smith's side for the execution, gave his own account.
What we saw was minutes of someone struggling for their life. We saw minutes of someone heaving back and forth. We saw spit. We saw all sorts of stuff from his mouth develop on the mask. We saw this mask tied to the gurney and him ripping his head forward over and over and over again. And we also saw correction officials in the room who were visibly surprised at how bad this thing went.
5 journalists who were allowed to watch the execution said that after the nitrogen began to flow, Smith shook his head and writhed on the gurney for about 2 minutes, then breathed deeply for several minutes more before his breathing eventually became imperceptible. Before the nitrogen was switched on, Smith made a lengthy final statement that began, quote, "Tonight, Alabama caused humanity to take a step backward." Leading up to the execution, Smith had mounted legal challenges in federal courts, arguing that Alabama's new method amounted to unconstitutional, cruel, and unusual punishment. The U.S. Supreme Court's conservative majority ultimately rejected Smith's final appeal to delay his death. Oklahoma and Mississippi have also approved nitrogen asphyxiation methods for executions, but have yet to deploy it.
All right, that report from Gabe Singer over at Reuters. Meanwhile, the United Nations top court, the International Court of Justice, has ordered Israel to prevent genocide in Gaza without specifying a ceasefire. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said he sees it as a rejection of discrimination. Over 40 Israeli officials have demanded Netanyahu's removal, citing an existential threat. The CIA director now expected to meet with negotiators on a deal for hostages held by Hamas. And the High Court in Kenya has halted government's plan to deploy police to fight gangs in Haiti. The judge ruled the deployment illegal, saying the National Security Council lacks authority to send police outside Kenya. Last year, Kenya volunteered to lead a multinational force in Haiti, but the judge emphasized that Kenyan law only permits police deployment with a reciprocal agreement. Both the Bahamas and Jamaica have pledged to send troops. The government in Kenya says it plans to appeal. Still to come in our news today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was January 26th. Then in our news at 7:30, a tragic turn of events. The teen gas station attendant shot in the face, critical but stable. Our Joshua Williams speaks with his family tonight. Plus, Bahamas Air's new Boeing 737 faces setbacks over lack of FAA certification. The airline's managing director goes on record when our news returns.
At the gateway to the Americas, on the picturesque island of Grand Bahama, a pioneering initiative is taking shape. Lucaya Solar Power Limited presents the $15 million Lucaya Solar Power Project, the first of its kind in the Bahamas' energy landscape. The state-of-the-art solar farm on the Fairfield and Devon sites spans just over 30 acres, and once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate over 9.5 megawatts of clean, sustainable energy. The Lucaya Solar Project is a pivotal step towards diversifying the country's energy sources and significantly reducing dependency on fossil fuels. It's more than just a project. It's a commitment to a greener, more sustainable future. Lucaya Solar Power Limited, powered by Inti, powering your world, powering your future.
Doctors Hospital is reimagined primary care. We've invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. Your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new, modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnosis and true personalized treatment begin. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite Doctors Hospital is reimagined primary care. We've invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. Your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new, modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnosis and true personalized treatment begin. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshos.com.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier.
Last night's Junkanoo parade, again, exciting times. Looking at images of Woodcock Primary School, they're the winners in the primary school division. We've got a full report from last night's Youth Showdown coming up in our news at 7:30. And in our news at 7, our Danielle Miller, she's going to tell us about the Bank of Junior Junkanoo's ongoing school tour. Welcome back to our news. For now, it's time to turn our spotlight on events that shaped the day that was January 26. Take a look, and don't worry, we've got Junior Junkanoo coming up right after this. On this day in Bahamian history, at the 2002 Australian Open in Melbourne, Bahamian Mark Knowles and Canadian Daniel Nestor won the men's doubles championship, defeating Francis Mikael Iodra and Fabrice Santoro 7-6 and 6-3. It was the first Grand Slam title captured by both players. Then in 2012, the Princess Margaret Hospital announced the historical successful separation of conjoined parasitic twins. Consultant neurosurgeon for both PMH and Doctors Hospital, Dr. Magnus Ikadede, led the surgical team. Dr. Ikadede said at the time that the surgery was essential for the survival of the normal baby, who would have died as the parasitic twin was consuming most of the nutrients and was developing an infection. In 2014, 2 single mothers and more than 10 children were left homeless after the houses they lived in burned down in a small yard in Union Village. The fire started in a tiny bedroom in one of the homes. At the time, the women said they believed the fire was the work of arsonists, as the homes were without electricity. Then in 2018, a memorial service was held for 6 plane crash victims in North Andros, as the community gathered at Cathedral of Olives Baptist Church to celebrate the lives of the victims who died in a tragic plane crash on January 17th. Framed portraits of Ricardo Campbell, Desiree Russell, Destiny Wilson, Darren Clark, Margaret Adderley, and Valentino Russell, each adorned in flowers, were placed in front of the stage. January 26, 2020, Exuma recorded its first case of COVID-19. At the time, there were 342 confirmed cases of the virus. 2 months later, then Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis announced a state of emergency, imposing the first in a series of extended lockdowns. And finally, in 2020, basketball legend Kobe Bryant and 4 others died in a helicopter crash. The aircraft went down in a remote field in California 10 o'clock on the morning of. Bryant won 5 NBA championship rings with the Los Angeles Lakers. He was an 18 times NBA All-Star who wore the number 24 during his 20-year career with the team. All right, now to Junior Junkanoo, Scotiabank. It's the official bank of Junior Junkanoo, and it's taking up the mantle of promoting Bahamian culture in a meaningful way. It is conducting an official school tour with visits to various institutions across the island. It was all in anticipation of the parade, and we expect it to continue even post-Junior Junkanoo. Our Danielle Miller, she was along yesterday as they visited the defending champions, C.V. Bethel Senior High School. Take a look.
The Senior Junkanoo parades have made their mark in the history books, but the spotlight will soon shift to the next generation of lead Junkanooers in the 2024 Junior Junkanoo Parade on Bay Street. In preparation for the event, Scotiabank, the official bank of Junior Junkanoo, is taking the initiative by hosting a school tour to build momentum.
I'm talking about from Centerville Primary School. The kids are screaming and excited about Junior Junkanoo, and coming here at CV Bethel, the school that I graduated from. I mean, it was just such an honor.
During the tour, uniquely curated elements have been incorporated to captivate the students' attention. Master of Ceremonies for the event was international talent Dasque. A motivational pep talk was delivered by Antonia Lightburn, as the Scotiabank team provided an engaging presentation on money management, effective saving, and transforming one's passion for Junkanoo into a lucrative business.
It doesn't have to be a mortgage on a car like us adults, but of course they mentioned today about saving to buy their own little niceties and the things that they love, and it's us building that sort of discipline in them and the commitment to stay focused.
To bring this dynamic power hour to an end, Scotiabank's People's Choice winner, the Valley Boys, took to the stage to perform in a mini rush out.
I am very excited for Junior Junkanoo. Being on tour for the past 3 days with Scotiabank from the primary school to junior high and high school, and seeing how excited they are for Junior Junkanoo, keeping the culture alive, the music, the artistry, the costuming. it's just, you know, it's heartwarming that our culture and our heritage is being maintained even for the generation that is coming.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
All right. Thanks so much for that, Danielle. It was so good to see that. If you want to watch her story again, but you can also get all of today's top stories. They're all available at ournews.bs. That's going to do it for us in News at 7. Joining us now is Atalia Hall. She's got the latest headlines. Atalia, quick question. Did you ever participate during your Junkanoo?
You've asked me this before, but I have. I did, yes. I did when I was much younger at my school in Freeport, Salon, then Lutheran, but it's Salon Baptist Academy.
Did y'all win?
I don't think so, but we did put on a great performance thanks to my teacher at the time, Lavender Roberts. So I will always remember that experience.
Good stuff. And then you got more during your Junkanoo coming up. So
stay tuned.
Yeah.
All right, thanks so much, Ken. Well, the teen gas station attendant shot in the face, critical but stable. Plus, Bahamas Air new Boeing 737 faces setbacks. Here are your latest headlines. First tonight on Our News Live at 7:30, a young man shot outside a gas station earlier this week in the capital is now in critical but stable condition. The victim's on to speaking out. Plus, a man convicted of killing a young boy has had his 50-year prison sentence cut on appeal. Plus, Bahamas Air Boeing 737NG unable to fly to the U.S., the managing director of the airline explains. And later, youngsters of all ages back on bay for the 2024 Junior Junkanoo Parade. Our News Live at 7:30 is back in a moment.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911.
And this is Tourism Today.
Welcome to Our News. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Atalia Hall. The teenager shot in the face at a gas station earlier this week while on duty is in critical but stable condition. Our News speaking with a family member and co-worker who both work at the station and was there when the shocking shooting happened. Joshua Williams reports.
Demetrio Forbes was the 17-year-old pump attendant who was callously shot in the face as he was working at the Esso on the Run East Street South gas station on Tuesday evening. The disturbing video quickly spread on social media. Back at the scene today, the gas station's manager, who was on duty at the time, recalled that horrific moment. He did not want to appear on camera for safety reasons.
I was in the back and the deli worker ran in there and said, someone gets shot. So I ran outside and I saw Demetrius on the ground.
He says his first instinct was to alert Forbes' aunt, who was a cashier on duty at that time. The victim's aunt, Tanya Roll, says all she could think about was keeping her nephew alive. As for his condition, Roll says Forbes is alert but is being closely monitored by doctors.
so far, he's still breathing on his own. He's still okay. He's still a long ways to, go, but he's still okay so far. This time, doctors, they just looking to see, they just observing him now, because they don't want to do no surgery on him.
Roll says her nephew is a humble young man who stayed out of trouble.
Don't get himself in no problems. Nothing. He just was a humble person. He's humble, never been locked up, nothing. He wants to go to BTVI because he said I asked him and he messaged me on Friday morning. And he's like, he wanted to go to BTVI, he wanted to take up a trade.
Asked about the progress of the investigation and a possible motive behind the shooting, Roll says there's been some speculations but nothing concrete. Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
All right, well, the man convicted of killing a 12-year-old boy has had his 50-year prison sentence cut on appeal. In a unanimous decision, the Court of Appeal reduced Roger Watson's sentence to 30 years. The sentence was further reduced to 26 years after factoring the time that Watson has spent on remand. Watson, now 54, has spent 21 years in prison for the January 15, 2003 shooting death of Edison Curtis. Watson, who had a dispute with the child's stepfather, fired an assault rifle into the family's home. Curtis was killed while watching the television. Watson was initially sentenced to death in 2007, but the Court of Appeal squashed his murder conviction in 2009 and replaced it with one of manslaughter. The Court of Appeal resentenced Watson to 50 years without hearing arguments. Last year, the Privy Council, the country's final court, overturned the sentence and directed the Court of Appeal to hold a sentencing hearing to determine a suitable penalty. Now turning to the northern Bahamas, this is residents in Bimini are expressing their frustration over an alleged sewage spill in waters off South Bimini on Thursday. Now the extent of the spill can be seen in this video sent to our news team. It shows an aerial view of clear blue water marred by a murky dark substance. Our news reached out to management at a nearby resort, but our calls and emails were not returned up to news time. We also reached out to West End and Bimini Member of Parliament Kingsley Smith, but he too was unavailable for comment. Well, Bahamas Air newly acquired Boeing 737NG is unable to travel to the United States. You may remember last year the airline boasted about the new jet being added to their fleet as it would help to increase efficiency in their day-to-day operations and expand the airline's current route network. But in a recent interview with Our News, Managing Director Tracy Cooper said the aircraft is not certified by the United States Federal Aviation Administration.
That is something that has been worked through, and once that is able to get onto the Bahamian U.S. specs, then the airplane will fly into the U.S. Right now, it is on our specs here in the Bahamas, and also we have the ability to fly pretty much everywhere else except the United States at this time.
Cooper further explaining why the aircraft isn't certified by the FAA at this time.
Country is going through FAA international audit, and until that is completed, then all operators in the Bahamas are not able to put airplanes, expand airplanes onto the U.S. specs until that audit is completed.
All right, well, lovely weather outside our news studios this evening to kick off the weekend. Meteorologist Ian McKenzie is in the Weather Center with your first look at weather. Ian.
Thanks, Italia, and good evening, Bahamas. Welcome to your TGI Friday forecast. We are currently outside our studios. We have few clouds with a temperature of 76. Bit breezy on the outside. Winds are from the east at 12 miles per hour with a feels like temperature of 76. Taking a first look now at our satellite and radar imagery, where we have few cloudiness across the extreme northwest Bahamas. Elsewhere across the central and southeast Bahamas, high pressure remains the dominant weather feature. We are watching this area of showers and thunderstorms, all associated with a frontal system that is expected to move into our area late Sunday night and possibly into early Monday morning. Stick around, we'll tell you more about this frontal system that is expected to cool things down a bit early next week.
Still to come in our news, residents in Abaco speaking up at a town hall meeting held to discuss plans to address irregular communities on that island, plus the first of its kind. The City of Freeport Council officially opening an emergency operations center in Grand Bahama, and later Quaker Oats recalling several products sold here in the Bahamas. We have the details coming up when our news returns.
At the gateway to the Americas, on the picturesque island of Grand Bahama, a pioneering initiative is taking shape. Lucaya Solar Power Limited presents the $15 million Lucaya Solar Power Project, the first of its kind in the Bahamas' energy landscape. The state-of-the-art solar farm on the Fairfield and Devon sites spans just over 30 acres, and once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate over 9.5 megawatts of clean, sustainable energy. The Lucaya Solar Project is a pivotal step towards diversifying the country's energy sources and significantly reducing dependency on fossil fuels. It's more than just a project. It's a commitment to a greener, more sustainable future. Lucaya Solar Power Limited, powered by Inti, powering your world, powering your future.
Doctors Hospital has reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. Your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new, modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnosis and true personalized treatment begin. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshos.com.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
You are looking at pictures from last night's Junior Junkanoo Parade. These are images of C.H. Reeves Junior High School. Winners in the junior high school category. We've got a full report from last night's Youth Showdown coming up in less than 5 minutes. But first, Abaconians not holding back at a town hall meeting on Thursday night as officials announced plans to address the rapid spread of irregular communities on that island. As government aggressively moves to eradicate unregulated communities, Works and Family Island Affairs Minister Clay Sweeting telling Abaconians he's received phone calls from people hoping government would turn a blind eye to those living in shanty towns. Sweeting says he anticipates getting the same response as the task force moves into Abaco. As for what Abaconians have to say,
there will be regular patrols. We already do it in Nassau for the 2 communities now, by immigration and the police, and also a hotline. Okay, so they'll have a community center set up so you could call and to report.
Well, Grand Bahama can now boast of its very own emergency operations center thanks to the City of Freeport Council. The facility will help residents on the island in the event of a natural disaster.
We all know the massive devastation and horrific destruction that natural disasters have done to our island. And now, with our heads held high, we claim this emergency operations center as a vital tool in facing future devastations.
The opening of the Emergency Operations Center on East Atlantic Drive is welcome news for Grand Bahamians, as it's the first of its kind on the island. Chief Counselor for the City of Freeport Council, Frazette Gibson, says those who assisted with relief efforts during Hurricane Dorian have been calling for the center for years.
This Emergency Operations Center will serve a critical role in every phase of emergency management, from being the hub for all coordination during an unforeseen incident to facilitating and directing recovery in conjunction with the DRA.
The Chief Counselor sharing some of the features. It has bunker facilities and showers for those who man the facility. Vice President of Bahamas Air and Sea Rescue Association, Devon Archer, applauding the effort by the council.
It's one central area for all of us to be in one room and make decisions. help save lives.
Environmentalist Joseph Darville says centers like this one are needed across the islands,
which are being always catastrophically impacted by hurricanes 4 and 5 and maybe even above.
Leader of the Free National Movement, Michael Pintard, also on hand for the official opening.
One of the things they've provided is more security to the residents of Grand Bahama in general and Freeport in particular. And they've inspired other groups.
All right, great news for the island of Grand Bahama. While the Quaker Oats Company, through its authorized local distributor Thompson Trading, announcing an expansion of the December 20th, 2023 recall for some popular snacks and cereals. To learn more about this recent recall, head over to ournews.bs and tune into Our News Weekend with Megan Shepard. When Our News comes back from the break, back on Bay. Youngsters putting on a show last night as they took part in the 2024 Junior Junkanoo Parade.
We bring you the latest with UB Sports, and Coach O and the Rebels ride in the sip. Our sports is up next.
And 6 years of excellence. This as the Essence Band celebrates their 6 years a group. We have the details coming up when Our News returns. Are you?
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business.
These pictures from last night's Junior Junkanoo Parade. You're looking at images of Lyford Key International School winners in the all-age school division. Stay tuned for more images from winners in the high school category in just a bit. Well, this is Our News. Welcome back. The major parades may be over, but Junkanoo is still alive. This is hundreds of students from over 20 schools and youth groups hit Bay Street last night for the annual Junior Junkanoo Parade. Our Joshua Williams was there and has this report.
Let the parade begin, and welcome to the square of 101 Preschool.
Junior Junkanoo kicked off on Bay Street on Thursday evening. 21 schools and community groups dazzling Bay Street with music, choreography, and creative costumes, and leading the way were the preschools. Then came the primary school students, the largest category. The all-age schools would not disappoint.
Now the night would not be complete without the category which everyone was waiting for.
it will be the Anatole Rogers High School, Government High School, and CV Bethel High School representing the senior division.
When all was said and done, One-on-One Preschool defended its crown by becoming back-to-back champions for the preschool division. Woodcock Primary taking the primary school division, C.H. Reeves taking the junior high title, and CV Bethel once again winning the senior high school division. Prime Minister Philip Davis says this year's parade stands out from the rest.
I don't know what it is, but Bahamians are really embracing their culture. I know this is a new spirit of Bahamianism that's permeating the air, and of course we are promoting that. Because we are promoting who we are, we're finding our identity, and we want people to be proud to be Bahamian.
We also ran into Mistress Galaxy Bahamas.
I just love the way the youth are representing our country so beautifully. The way the costumes are beautifully put together, the routines, the music, it's awesome. I love it.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
All right, beautiful sights and sounds. Thanks so much for that, Josh. Well, now turning to sports, we update you on the University of the Bahamas sports and Coach Yo. And Ole Miss gets another win. Here's Tage Adderley with your check on sports. Tage?
Thanks, Tatia. Good evening, happy Friday. I'm Tage Adderley here to wrap up the week with some sports. The UB Mingos took to the volleyball court and the soccer pitch this week. Let's see what they did. The Mingos volleyball team took to the court against the Strikers, falling in straight sets 25-11, 25-13, and 25-13. The men's soccer team was also in action, routing FC Dynamos 6-1. Peter Julimus led the way for them with the hat trick.
After that loss, last week Sunday, the boys were hungry. We came out, showed the practice, put in the work, and just put in the work out here on the field. We trust in our coaches' decisions, we trust in our players, we trust in our ability, and we just executed.
Now we're going to head over to Oxford, Mississippi, where Coach Yo and the Rebels won their second straight. Yolette McPhee-McEwen and her Rebels picked up another SEC win last night, beating the Florida Gators 81-70. Marquisha Davis led the way with 23 points and 4 rebounds. Madison Scott had 16, and Kennedy Todd Williams had a near triple-double with 11 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists. Before we go, we have some hoops update from the north. We had some high school basketball in Abaco yesterday. In junior boys, Agape defeated Patrick J. Bethel 63-41. Valdez Johnson led Agape with 18 points. SC Boodle also demolished Long Bay 68-10. Demarion Evans had 27 in a big win. And they also won the finale in the senior boys division, beating Forest Heights 76-50. Jareel Hepburn had 29. And just like that, we're done with sports for the week. I'm Tage Adderley. Have a great weekend.
Still ahead on our news tonight, the Essence Band celebrating 6 years of excellence. We have some highlights from their anniversary celebration coming up, and nice weather conditions in the capital to kick off the weekend. Your extended weather right after this quick break. Stay with us.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Welcome back to our news. Nice weather conditions to kick off the weekend, but there may be a shower or two. Ian is back in the Weather Center with your extended forecast. Ian?
Thanks, Natalia. Welcome back to Extended Forecast, everyone, where we're looking at some cloudiness, and this is associated with a frontal system across the Gulf states. This frontal system should creep towards our area and to the northwest Bahamas late Sunday night into Monday, but before it does, it should pose some hazardous conditions across the southeast U.S., Alabama, Georgia. Those guys are monitoring the progress of this system. Boating conditions across the northwest Bahamas for tonight and tomorrow. Small craft should use caution. Winds east to southeast 10 to 15 knots, those seas 2 to 4, but up to 6 feet offshore and easterly swells. You can expect a high tide tonight at 8:27 p.m., low tide tomorrow morning at 2:28 a.m. For the central and southeast Bahamas, there's an advisory in place. You boaters as well as swimmers exercise extreme caution. Winds easterly 15 to 25 knots, seas 5 to 8 feet in those easterly swells. Let's look now at your national forecast. And in your extended forecast, breezy, nice conditions expected tomorrow, Saturday. Into Sunday, we have that frontal system that should bring some showers ahead of it. But by Monday, things should start to cool down a bit. We have some wind behind that front in its wake. Look at those temperatures dipping down into the low 70s during the daytime, but getting down into the 50s by midweek. So that should be a nice cool down for everyone with a gradual increase by the end of the week. That's a wrap on the evening forecast. Make it a great, safe, fun night, everyone.
All right, thanks so much, Ian. Well, they're well known for their performances at Bahamas Jazz Bar. The Essence Band celebrated 6 years of making music this past Friday with a special performance at their resident venue. Our Danielle Miller was there and has a recap.
Inside Mega Resort Bahama resides one of the country's premier bands. Taking center stage several nights a week at Jazz Bar, the Essence Band consistently delivers grand performances that hypnotize hundreds of locals and tourists with melodies of jazz, R&B, pop, soca, and yes, rake and scrape. Last Friday, the band celebrated their 6th anniversary at the resort. I chatted with the band, who gave me this interesting fact about how they were formed.
The band was formed out of another band called the Jam Session Band. We actually started as Jam Session Band in 2017 and then formed the Essence Band in 2018.
After deciding on an official name, the band then took the monumental step and auditioned for the coveted spot at Bahamas. And to everyone's surprise, they didn't make the cut the first time.
We auditioned actually when they first started twice, didn't get it for the first 2 times, but they called us back like after our second audition, after like months of not hearing anything, and it's like, hey, y'all want to come? It's like, yes. And we've been here ever since.
What began as a 3-piece band has now grown to an orchestra of 9 talented individuals dedicated to upholding a standard of high energy, discipline, and attention to details. It would be difficult for anyone to deny that although they may be young, this band is far beyond their years.
Year 6. I tired of them. No, just kidding. I think like year 6 is such a great feat to accomplish because a lot of bands don't make it this far, and just grateful to God for bringing this family together.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
All right, such a beautiful story. I enjoyed that, Danny, and congrats to the Essence Band. And with that, we thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. And of course, we want to send our heartfelt congratulations to all of last night's winners, including CV Bethel Senior High School, who you are now seeing as we leave you with these images from their winning performance. Have a great evening.